Well, Puma Pants just jumped in my lap with an oof because he's 14 pounds of Monster Mountain Puma. He just flew in from Catalina on his catamaran. Tomorrow's his birthday. We're very excited. Anyway, wow, what a topic this week. Seeking. It's probably as rich and fertile a topic as there could ever be, especially when we've considered the unassailable, irrevocable spiritual principle that what you seek, you find. You can't seek and not find. It's impossible. It's the way, I mean, in physics, it's the uh, it's the way that consciousness shapes the indeterminate wave packet. It's quantum physics. The way that you look at things shapes what you look at. Even Max Planck, the great German physicist who was not a preacher, he is attributed with that comment. He said, when you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. So we're seeking and finding creatures. There's no doubt about that. So I guess as we conclude the topic for this week, we might ask ourselves, yeah, but there's so many things to seek. It's like, back in the day, there were just three channels on TV, 2, 4, and 7. You probably are too young to remember that. And then, we had a antenna, rabbit ears on the TV, and you had to get up and change the channel. And the TV was in black and white. It was weird. But be that as it may, on TV now, there's 500 channels. And on the internet, there's a billion. And how on earth do we know what to seek? How do we know we're seeking the right thing? If we know that we're going to find what we seek, how do we know it's the right thing? And I think all of us, if we're human at all and we're honest with ourselves, we will note that at some point in our life, we have sought something less than the best for ourselves. Maybe it was inadvertent, or it certainly wasn't deliberate. Maybe it was the baggage we were given by our parents, or maybe it was selfish and self-seeking and inappropriate. But we're all human, and we've all engaged in what we've engaged in, and we've learned that some of the things that we sought were not good for us. So how on earth do we know for sure that what we're seeking is good for us, is objectively, not just subjectively, objectively good for us? One metric of what's good for us could be, objectively speaking, what's good for those around us. And something might feel good to us, but the people around us may not flourish and thrive around us quite so much. So there's an objective metric as well, which is what's good for me also reflects in the world as what's good for those around me. And that's pretty easy to keep track of if we're honest with ourselves. But there was a great metric given by a great spiritual master 2,000 years ago of how to know if we're seeking the right thing in this world of so many temptations, diversions, distractions, true prophets and wolves wearing sheep's clothes, so to speak. And the metric is so unbelievably simple that smart people miss it. But the metric is, by the fruit you shall know. If we didn't have this capacity built within us that told us by the fruit we will know, then we would be lost in an infinite miasma, panoply of possibilities in this universe, and we would be lost in a maze of experience forever. We would never get anywhere. But the truth is, by the fruit we will know. And what does that mean? Well, it just means we know we're seeking something that's high or higher or the highest when it produces true and genuine happiness for ourselves and everyone around us. It's so simple. It's so true. It's so honest. It's so straightforward. We know we're seeking the proper thing when it produces true and genuine happiness. Well, then you might say, well, I don't even know what that is. I'm confused. Maybe you're not, but if you are confused and you're listening to this, if you're one of my close friends, or if you happen to be watching this, there is one way to make absolutely certain that you're seeking the right thing, even if you're confused. And this is as religious as I will ever sound. And it's going to sound like, oh my God, this is now turned into evangelism, and Greg should get really big hair with hairspray and be an evangelist. But what I'm going to say is, you seek God's will, thy will be done. Now, I'm not a conventionally or an orthodox religious person by any stretch of the imagination. You know me, I'm a yogi and a meditator and a breath work and a you name it. But all the, in yoga, there's something called Ishvara Pranidhana, and it literally means surrender to God. Now, some people are just not in that place. It's not something they even want to begin to consider, but some people are. And at any point, and you don't have to use God, I give you my life and my will. Your language can be your own language as long as it's sincere, it's wholehearted, and it's done without reservation. The language could be universe. Uh, I inquire and want to know what's the highest and the best for me in this lifetime. Then the answer will be most assuredly given if we're open and willing to hear it. If we're just saying it with lip service, if we ask, but we're still entirely determined to do what we want, then nothing will happen. But if there's an open-hearted willingness, a sincerity, a saying it without reservation, any human at any time on any day can simply pause in the rush and the tumble of existence and say, thy will be done. And if you mean it, constant, continuous correction and guidance and inspiration will flow into us. And then we realize that God's will is not something harsh uh, or mean-spirited or ever used against us. God's will is always the most wonderful, glorious, most thrilling, exhilarating, beyond our wildest imagining, glorious good that we could ever experience. And that's a transition to trust that, but it's an adventure we're seeking. So a lot we talked about this week. Seek and you'll find, by the fruit you will know. And if you're confused in any way, you can seek the highest you know by simply saying, thy will be done. We'll talk about it tomorrow. See ya.